Hi, my name is Rachel McLeod. I am a licensed clinical social worker and emotional freedom coach. And I'm jumping on today. I keep adding letters to my title. I'm actually an emotional wellness coach, but I love the idea of emotional freedom and just the idea that we can use our emotions to be free to live the life of our dreams. And that's really what our emotions are there for. It's part of our navigation system, and they're actually here to help us accomplish what we want and to be able to help us to live our dream life, to keep us safe, to keep our boundaries, to create boundaries that are really healthy and vibrant for us. And so really emotions are part of our freedom. And so it's really such a thing that people don't want to deal with their emotions. They are afraid of their emotions. The emotions are too overwhelming. They don't know what to do with their emotions. And so, and really their lives reflect the lack of freedom that they have as a result of not working with their emotions and not knowing how to, and not receiving any training on how to deal with their emotions or how to work powerfully with their emotions. So I do love the idea of combining emotion and freedom together. And so you may hear me make that combination in the future, the saying that I'm an emotional freedom coach. Absolutely. I'm also I'm really going with emotional wellness coach, um, it's all together. It's really all the same thing. And so, but what I'm jumping on to talk about today is why I do not help my clients forgive, and how this helps them to forgive in the healthiest, most authentic way. And so that's a foreign concept to many people, and I really have to talk people into this, but I do this over and over again, that it's very natural to me, because I watch the results and I watch these people be able to powerfully heal. And a lot of people are stuck in not being able to forgive. I get to watch these people powerfully forgive the people in their lives, and when they're ready. And yet I have so many people that are stuck in not being able to forgive. I have people that come to me that that have so much bitterness and hatefulness filling them, and they don't want that. It's not in line with who they are, but they can't seem to shake this. They feel like they're failing their ideals. They're failing their religion, their spiritual beliefs. They're not in alignment because they're still carrying so much anger, so much hurt, so much rage, so much powerlessness as a result of just their inability to forgive and the things that have happened. And so, but this is one of the things I love to do with people. But I want to also tell you, this is one of the reasons why people will not do their emotional work, is because they know that they will become so angry. That if they tune into what's going on, they will be full of anger, they will be full of rage, they will be full of hatred. They may want to emotionally or mentally or with boundaries, like blow up relationships, or just really seek vengeance. And that's a scary place to be, especially when we're talking about your parents or your loved ones or people like that you're bonded to and you don't want to feel that angry with, let alone, if you add in the school district or, and where you may be afraid of how you're going to behave, and so, or teachers or people that have harmed you, and so it can really stop people from working through this because, and also they feel like, well, I'm not going to do this emotional work because then I'm going to have to forgive. And they just won't. And they don't want to forgive. And I absolutely empathize with this. And I really think that that's an important place not to go. If you're not ready to forgive, you should not be forgiving. We're supposed to be respecting ourselves. And if your inner world says, absolutely not, we're not doing it, well, then you're not supposed to be forgiving right now. And I know that's crazy town talk, but I'm going to tell you why that's the truth and how this one thing can help you to really have the power to forgive. And I have to turn off my heater because it's just not going to work. So 1 second, guys. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me on that. Okay, so I never know when it's going to turn on, and I need heat. I cannot do cold. So this is what happens. Forgiveness comes from inner healing. It comes from taking care of yourself. It comes from respecting yourself. It comes from ending pain. If you are still suffering from the consequences of what somebody else has done to you, you will not forgive. Yourself will not forgive, because daily, moment by moment, it is reminded of how much damage has been done to you because of the emotional and mental pain that is still reverberating through your system. And what happens is that if people ignore their self and ignore their own pain and just say that they're going to forgive, they are missing a step, and this will not hold, it will not last, and it will end in frustration, and you will be more dysfunctional than you were if you just did this properly. Okay, and let me tell you how this is proper. Okay, let me tell you, number one, you've got to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can go around and turn it to everybody else. Okay, so you have to prioritize yourself. And as a matter of fact, in these matters, and I'm going to say some crazy thing right now, but I want you to stay with me here. In these matters, you must be selfish. That means you must tune into yourself first. The very first thing that we develop when we get on this planet is selfishness. When we are infants, when we are babies, when we're children, we are selfish. And this is something that we are supposed to develop at a very high level. And then the next thing our parents are supposed to help us build is not less selfishness, as a matter of fact. They're actually supposed to help reinforce that selfishness. But the next thing we're supposed to add on is empathy. Is to be able to empathize with other people and to be able to bring all of that together and make really wonderful decisions so that you can create win-win interactions with people. But there are some times when we are taught and we're programmed that stop being selfish, don't do that, that doesn't matter, all you're thinking about is yourself, and that's wrong. It does not work like that. You can never put yourself aside and think that you are going to end up healthy. And let me tell you what, if you're not healthy, I don't want to be around you. No, not really. But you know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to be healthy, what are you going to give to somebody else? If you're not healthy, I absolutely want to be around you if you want to get healthy, right? But you know where I'm going with this. You're seeing, your job in life is to be healthy. Your job is to bring your most healthy self with you everywhere you go. You're supposed to bring your healthy self to work. You're supposed to bring your healthy self to your marriage. You're supposed to bring your healthy self to your children. You're supposed to bring your healthy self everywhere. You have a right and a responsibility to be healthy. And let me tell you, what that takes is tuning into yourself. You've got to have the skills to keep yourself healthy and to make yourself healthy. And if you keep ignoring yourself, you will not be healthy. And let me tell you, sometimes it's hard to deal with ourselves, because sometimes ourselves are very unreasonable, and they're just, all emotional. And we've got these emotional problems and these mental problems that we just can't get over, and we're just looping over and over again. And so it can really be frustrating. We feel like when we get in there, we just can't win, and we're just stuck. So because people like to be successful, we'll just block that part out. And we'll just keep going on. And as women, we'll tend to start minding everybody else's business, and we're helping our friends, but we don't help ourselves, because that is, I don't even know what to do with all of that. But I do know how to help my friend, and I can give my friend advice, and I can help her, and I can clean her house. But when I go to my own, I can't. I can't clean my mental house. I can't clean my physical house, And so we have this piece where we don't know how to help ourselves. And so how does this all tune into forgiveness? Well, when you are having to forgive, the very first thing, you cannot jump to empathy first. You cannot say, well, they didn't mean to, they were just trying, they didn't know any better. You cannot go there and empathize, because you've got yourself that's in here like, yeah, but I'm hurt, I'm devastated, I have symptoms that I can't stop, my life has been forever changed, I don't even know how to deal with that, and you want me to think about them? I don't want to think about them. I don't want to do it. I don't care. I don't give a rat's behind what they've got going on, what they didn't know, because I'm hurt and I'm hurting. And I'm going to tell you what, if we can just pause that right there and leave the empathy piece off the table and do selfishness first and tune into that self and help this self heal, because the brain heals emotional wounds wonderfully and fast and organically and deeply. The brain is great at this. And if we can do that first and we can heal that, because whenever we see that person, it's like our emotional wound there is being touched up. We're being reminded of the damage they did to us. And that is like pain reverberating through our system, right? And when that happens, like all this, and then we're reminded how selfish we are. We can't get over it. What's wrong with us? We should be able to forgive already. Look how you're not being very Christian-like. You're not being very Muslim-like. You're not being very peaceful. You're just not measuring up. You're just not enough. You're not good enough because look, you can't even do one thing and forgive somebody. Look, you should be able to get over this already. Right? And so there's a lot that happens with this emotional wound. But when we heal this, and let me tell you what, if you've got anger going on, if that person makes you angry, anger is a secondary emotion. You've got to have some things happening to have some anger being generated. If you've got rage, if you've got fear and terror, there's some things happening under here that is generating that. And that is hurt. This is hurt. There is some deep hurt going on here that has nothing to do with anybody else. It just has to do with you, and it has to do with your hurt. And a lot of times, especially the more trauma my clients have, this is the place we're walking to. It's like this lake of hurt and pain inside. And a lot of times there's a lot of barriers around this so that we don't just run in here, because your brain is like, yeah, we can't get in there because if we get in there, we'll be destroyed. We will never come back out. And so there's ways not to go in pain, and you put anger around that as a buffer, and you hit that anger and you just light off. It keeps you out of the pain. If you can put around there fear, if you can get some limiting beliefs around there, some, I can't go there, I can't do this. If you can put that stuff, you've got a pretty good thick barrier protecting this lake of hurt around you. But a lot of the work, and a lot of this is conditioning, and our brains are smart. Our brains know, like, hey, we don't know how to heal this, but we've got life that's keep going, so we can't spend time in here because we will drown in this lake of pain. And where this is not true, it can be true. And it is at times true. This is why we have severe depression. This is why we have severe anxiety, is a lot of times it's just this. This is what I find over and over and over again with my clients, and what we spend time clearing out and preparing people to build the skills to be able to work with this lake of pain. Because under this lake of pain, when your brain heals this, which it does, when your brain heals this, under there is like beautiful stuff. It's like the best soil ever. Like, you can plant anything you want in there. You can run some tractors over there. You can have all this function back, and you can do whatever you want with it. And let me tell you what, when you start touching it, it doesn't hurt anymore. And all of a sudden you see, oh my gosh, like I am amazing. Because when you suffer and you survive, and your brain works through it, and it releases the stuff that's dysfunctional about it, and it really grabs hold of the juicy stuff that's your authentic self, and how powerful you are, and how you are not destroyed by the worst circumstances, and how you have actually become like a diamond in the rough, like how all this pressure and stuff has made you amazing. And that's what happens with emotional wounding. And I see it over and over and over again. I think there's some kind of divine, beautiful plan in place this is the principle. And so this is one of the reasons why I love to help people resolve this, is because what's going to happen next? What are they going to do now? Like, what brilliance is going to happen now? And invariably, it always does. And so, but when we heal that emotional wound, and it's kind of like your brain vacuums up all that pain and that lake, and then I don't know what the heck it does in there, but I watch it happen all the time. But it heals this, and now you can touch it, and you're not going to drown. Like, now you have this place in your brain where you can run on anytime. People can say the same things that will remind you of this place, but now there's beauty here. Now there's joy here. Now there's love here. And and then it's like that, what that person did to you, the anger that's coming up and being generated from the hurt, isn't being generated anymore. So now there's not anger between you anymore. Now you realize no one can hurt you. You are indestructible. And that may sound like crazy talk right now, but it has happened in the worst case scenarios. And not that a lot of people I say that I work with, that when they get this healing, they will say, I would not have changed a thing about my upbringing. And I'm telling you what, people, you don't want what they have. You don't want to know what they have experienced. But afterwards, they will tell you, I wouldn't have had it any other way. This is why I am amazing. And mind you, these are people with severe depression, have had a date for when they are done, when they are going to be finished with life. These are people that have been crammed in their homes with anxiety attacks, cannot leave the house, they're people that cannot be intimate with their partners anymore, people that have all kinds of sexual dysfunction, people that are using food to manage their emotions, people that are using marijuana to manage their emotions, people that are using, you see what I'm saying? And so, but these people come out of this hurt like blazing, and forgiveness is a natural outcome of them healing and taking care of themselves. I never have to tell them, oh, well, I think you should forgive them. I never say that. I never say that. I just don't. It's something that they do. It's what healthy people do. Healthy people forgive. And it's crazy to me the amazing amount of like tragedy that these people can resolve and heal from and go on to forgive. Like, yeah, now forgiveness doesn't mean that you want to invite this person back into your life. Absolutely not. But they're in their brain about it, right? Whenever they think about it, they're not going in their limbic survival center. They're not going there. They're actually able to use their thinking center. They're able to rationalize through it now, whereas before it was just a hot spot. They just could not go there. And so this is powerful. And let me tell you something. I actually will help people in these moments. Okay, I understand that you want to forgive them. Absolutely. And that I will talk them into, let's just tune into you right now. Let's just do this work. And I don't know how long the work will take. Sometimes the work can happen in one session. Sometimes this takes months. Right. And that's a scary place to be, because you're not allowed to be selfish, not for 3 months. What are you talking about? I'm just going to tune into my own self for 3 months. But I've been trained to think about my mom. I've been trained to think about how my dad would feel about this. I've been trained to think about, that, I've got to be strong for my kids. I've got to be able to, and to give yourself permission just to tune into yourself for 3 months so you can build this skill for 4 months. It doesn't typically take that long, especially because sometimes it can take that long to get to it and have it outlined, but the brain heals that super fast. That once we get there, I've had clients take maybe 2 or 3 weeks through that. And this is a time when we get face to face with this. This is a really big time for self-care. This is a time to make sure, some people can just go through it and just swim around in this lake of pain. And some people have to just like look at it from the side of their eye. Some people can get a toe in that. Sometimes it's just so painful. It's just, they're taking like spoonfuls out. But what's amazing is that once you get a spoonful, like your limbic system, right, gets to decide if the information gets to go through the healing pathways or if it goes into quarantine. If it goes into quarantine, it's decided it's not safe and we need to keep this over here, and this is my business. But if it decided it's safe, it'll allow it to go through your natural healing pathways. And this process is super fast. This really right here is really all I have to help people do, is get their limbic system to decide, hey, it's safe. Right. And so there's ways to do that so that it really is safe, because we don't want to, we want to be honest, with your limbic system, because we want to build that trust back. And so sometimes we'll just scoop it in a little at a time, and we'll just take a little piece and get that in there. But, the brain is so awesome, because once it gets one of those things past the healing pathways, it's like, maybe we can do this. And it'll just start working on its own. It'll start resolving these things without you even having to do anything. And the next thing you know, you're just having all these different thoughts about it, all these new perspectives, because you get to use all of your brain on it. Whereas before it just hurt. And when there's pain, there's survival. Like your limbic system is like, are we going to live? Or are we not going to live? Are we going to live? Or are we not going to live? I don't think we're going to live, and it will shut down the healing work. It will not allow the information to go through the healing pathways. But if we can get it to do that, it's done. Problem solved. It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of timing at that point. So that's what I want to share with you. I want to share with you that it is not right for you to forget yourself and just decide you're going to heal. You're going to forgive people. You're just going to move on. That's like telling a kid, oh, it doesn't matter. They were just trying to, they didn't mean it. You know, don't worry about it. Let's just keep on moving. Okay, if you would do that to your kid, that's probably because you're doing that to yourself, right? And let me tell you, that is dysfunctional. That is not the way. The way is, let's take care of the kid. That hurt you. I can see that hurt you. Here, let me hug you. Go ahead, cry it out. Go ahead. Yes, I can. If I were in your position, I would feel the same amount of hurt. And let me tell you what, you do this a couple times, and all of a sudden that kid is like, they're like, yeah, it did hurt, but I'm okay. Yeah, and I can forgive them. I can understand why they wanted to steal my bike. Yeah, let's go talk to them about giving my bike back. Now they're in problem solving mode. Now they're in repair relationship mode. That's powerful. And that comes because we tune in. We don't teach that kid, you don't matter, your feelings don't matter, your hurt doesn't matter, just get over it. That's not what we do. If you're doing that, let's talk, okay? Because that is continuing to perpetuate these cycles of dysfunction, right? And if you're doing that, it's probably because that's what was done to you. That's your conditioning, that's your training. And guess what? You don't have to live like that. You absolutely can get your brain to release that, and you can upgrade it. Maybe this conversation will just, in bringing that to your awareness, your brain is already taken off and doing the work. But that's it. So really, if you're having a problem forgiving, understand this is natural. This is how brains work. But understand that if you're having trouble healing, it's probably because you're still wounded. You're still emotionally wounded. And that's the work to do. That's where you got to do it. Heal yourself. Heal yourself. Do not walk around in this world with all these emotional wounds bleeding everywhere, where you're losing your emotional lifeblood through these emotional wounds, and you've got emotional infections, and it's starting to affect your life and your children and your marriage and your work and your earning potential and the vibrant thing that you have to do on this earth, right? That's not what they're for. And you can become an expert in this. You absolutely can become an expert in healing your own wounds. And then you don't have to mind everybody else's business. You can mind your own and get your own yard looking all nice, your own emotional yard, your own inner world. You can get it all fancied up and, and be radiant and be an inspiration to the people around you. And guess what? Your kids are learning how to do that just because you're doing it. And all of a sudden your relationships start to change, and there's so much transformation. So really hear me and take care of yourself. Put yourself first. Heal these emotional wounds. And you know what? If you're really, really angry at somebody you love, that's okay. It's just an emotion. Anger is just an energy. It's really okay. And if it's not okay, then maybe you need some strategies to learn how to work through anger in a safe way. Maybe you need some strategies to learn how to work through emotional pain in a safe way. And that's a real thing. This is some high quality stuff. This is stuff people go to the grave with, these kind of emotional wounds. And this is not something they teach you in school. I wish they would. I wouldn't be sitting here if they would. So, and so if these are the kind of skills that you need, and you like don't know where to get started, then I offer you an opportunity to talk with me for 1 hour. I do a planning stage absolutely for free with people, where I will help you figure out where you're stuck. And then we'll talk about where you want to go, and then we'll create a plan for you to figure out how to get from stuck to that where you want to go, and how to work powerfully through this so that you can get your outcome and live the life of your dream and have the impact that you're supposed to be having in your own life, with your own health, with your children, with your job. Maybe there's some amazing purpose you're supposed to be doing, and that this piece is just not lining up for you properly. Let's talk about it. I do this because this is my way of giving back, and because I know some of you may want my help to solve this problem. And so if this sounds appealing to you, let's talk about it. And you can book a call with me by going to rachelmcleod.com/call. And then we'll talk. I'll call you at the time that you choose. And let me see. I think there's something else I want to say about that. Yeah. And if this is not something, if we get to your plan and you're like, I got this, then you got this. You go do it. I'm not attached to the outcome of whether you will work with me or not. I know that what I do is not for everyone, and you may already have so many skills. But if this is something that you want help with, just to figure out where you're at, what you need to do, let's talk about it. Let's get you unstuck, because the world needs you to be healthy. This is the best thing you can do for the world. This is the best thing you can do for your children, is to heal yourself. And it's powerful. It does not have to take forever. You do not have to relive your traumas. Have I said that before? You do not have to relive this. And that's excellent. I have one of my clients, that is what her most favorite thing that has ever happened from this, because she's done so much talk therapy and it did not give her results. And talk therapy affects the part of the brain that you don't need help with. You need more help with the limbic system, the survival center. That's the part of the brain that really needs help. And that's the part of the brain we need to learn how to work with powerfully. And we can use that part, that we can get change there without reliving these events. All the time I work with people, especially like sexual abuse trauma, things like that. Like, you don't want to tell me all your stuff, and I don't need to hear it for you to heal, for your brain to work through that powerfully. And so these are really wonderful ways for you to get healing without re-traumatizing yourself, without having to relive the worst parts of your life. Absolutely not. If you want to talk about it after your brain's resolved it, and it's not going to like send you into like emotional pain spasms, right? When it's just a story, when it's just, because that's what their brain does. It takes the emotional pain out of these things, and it connects it with the rest of our brain. It's really powerful. And some of these stories can be just like any other stories that we tell people. And so, and then you can tell it if you want to or not. It's your business, right? But we just want your brain to be able to connect with it, because it's going to connect with it for the rest of your life, and it to be helpful for you and not painful for you. And if it's in the stuff that I was talking about, the stuck in quarantine, anytime your brain goes over there, and this processor its job is to heal everything. So it's like it thinks it should always be in quarantine. And the limbic system is like, no, it's in quarantine because I don't want you to touch it. And so these guys go back and forth, and they're both trying to work on this, and this one's getting out, and this one's going into panic attacks and depression and anxiety. It will shut your whole system down. It will do a lot of dysfunctional things. That's the foundation of an anxiety disorder, depression disorders, trauma disorders, emotional eating, substance abuse. This is it. Like, your brain will not, like, your limbic system is more powerful than that inner healer, and it will not let it do the work, and it will do all kinds of things to prevent it. And teach you not to do that, and try and teach that part not to do it, but that part's really neurotic and we'll keep doing it. So you hear me? It's like a circle in there. So let's get you out of that circle and get you moving on with your life, okay? And I could keep nerding out about this, but you get the point, and you get that to forgive, you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to heal yourself first. Do not expect yourself or your children or anybody else to forgive until you're able to heal these emotional wounds, and you're able to take care of yourself in that situation. Okay? So that's all I've got to say. And thank you for tuning in. Hi, Mandy. I see you there. Sometimes I get names popping up of who've joined, but not always. I guess it's only if you're friends. So anyway, learning all these kind of tech things. So I will see you all in another time this week. And thanks for joining and tuning in and watching this. I hope this helps you on your path to forgiveness. Take care. Bye.